This is the October 7th Board of Control meeting for Cuyahoga County. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning, everyone. It is now 11:02 a.m. Calling the roll for the Monday, October 7th Board of Control meeting. We have Nan Baker, Dale Miller, Trevor Macular serving as an alternate for Dan Brady, Dennis Kennedy serving as an alternate for Armin Budish,
Here.
and Lenora Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is to review the minutes of the Board of Control meeting of September 30th. Those were provided to everybody in advance. Are there any changes, corrections, or comments about the minutes from anyone? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval of the minutes indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The Board of Control minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment at this time,
Are there any tabled items today?
and no tabled items.
So then we will move on to the first scheduled item on the agenda.
First item is item number BC 2019-725, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, recommending to accept a donation in the amount of $250,000 from Huntington National Bank for support of the Universal Pre-Kindergarten 2.0 program, and it's for the period September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with the Office of Early Childhood Invest in Children. Again, this is a donation from Huntington National Bank. This is their part of their commitment to the expansion of UPK. This is their third installment.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody? Councilman Miller? It's been moved. I will second that. All those in favor of the item indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-726, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board, submitting an amendment to a contract with Orianna House, Inc. for cognitive skills development programming services, and is for the period July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $248,000.
Good morning, Marty Murphy from the Corrections Planning Board. We are looking to extend a contract with Orianna House, and it's for cognitive skills development. It's specifically to work with offenders around their thinking and their flawed thinking and what got them into the system in the first place. And the amount is $248,000.
Thanks, Marty. Any questions? Councilman Miller?
Why are we not able to get this here at the same time that the contract is supposed to start?
Councilman, this particular contract is funded through State of Ohio Bureau of Community Sanctions Funding. As you are aware, the State of Ohio didn't pass a budget until July 15th, which was actually a couple of weeks after the contract started. The Bureau of Corrections under DRC actually received their funding availability a couple days later. At that point, we could have moved forward. However, we had to do the appropriation process once we received the funds. There was only there was a non-published fiscal meeting in very early August. We weren't aware that we could have gotten on that. It would have been a timing issue anyway. We then ended up on the agenda for the next appropriations scheduled meeting, which was September 10th, with the funding becoming available on September 11th. We started moving the contract forward at that point in time and realized that in the couple of months that had passed, that the vendor's workers' comp certificate and insurance certificate had expired, and we went to them and got another one of each, and then we brought it forward.
And have any services been provided under the new contract?
Services have not been stopped. They've been continuous throughout.
And have we paid for any services, or will they not be paid until this item is approved.
It won't be, and services won't be paid for until this item is approved.
Any other questions or comments related to this item? Councilwoman Baker?
So there is really, and I understand the delay in the state budget approval of July, which is a couple of weeks late, it wasn't hugely late, it was a couple of weeks late. So there is really in the future no way that something like this could ever be brought to us on time,
Never.
never. And there isn't
I've
anything that,
actually, I've suggested, I've made it actually to Director Kennedy or Fiscal Officer Kennedy that if the county was willing to front us about $10 million, we could get all of these items in on time and then do expense adjustment once the federal or once the state funding became available. At this point, we haven't moved on that idea.
so that is the only way.
Under the current paradigm, there is no way to get these things in on time.
Okay.
A follow-up on that. Couldn't we persuade the state to change the start date? I mean, if they're not gonna pass it until, hopefully most years they would pass it on time on June 30th. Well, if they start the contract on October 1st, well, then there would be enough time for you to receive the money, put it through the system and have it.
Sure, I think that's probably a more global issue than one to be approached by the Corrections Planning Board vis-a-vis the state and their policies around their budgets.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approval of the item indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item is approved. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-727, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to an agreement with University of Cincinnati for cognitive behavioral intervention training services for court staff. And it's for the period August 7, 2017 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $18,000.
Good morning, Sarah Baker with Juvenile Court. This is an amendment to our contract with the University of Cincinnati, and they provide training services to our community-based intervention center staff. We did receive competitive reclaim funding for this project, so it's part of our reclaim grant. And there should be 1 year left remaining on this program specifically, and they'll be providing on-site technical assistance for the next year, as well as some video conferencing options.
Thanks. Any questions? Councilwoman Baker?
So again, this is another 90-day late. Is there any way that this could have been on time, or is this another never?
I don't want to say never, because you just don't know, but it is kind of part of the same issue, is that we don't get notice of our reclaim grant award until after the start date. So then, we get made aware, and then we're trying to get our appropriations and our index codes and everything lined up before we can get a contract through. So it is kind of a similar situation that the Corrections Planning Board has, is that we don't always get made aware until after the start date.
And again, were services provided during that interim time?
For this particular contract, we have not utilized UC in the past few months.
And when it's late like this and it's only for 1 year, you're narrowed then down to like 8 months now. Is that how you thought it would be for the 18,000 that you're asking for?
Yes, and it's not something that it's like a monthly amount. We'll only utilize them maybe 4 times throughout the next year, so we'll have plenty of time to spend it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval of the item indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
Oops, sorry. Next item, Court of Common Pleas, BC 2019-728, Juvenile Court Division, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with MST Services LLC for licensures for multisystemic therapy services, and it's for the period July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $15,400.
Sarah Baker, Juvenile Court. This is a contract that we partner with DCFS on, and MST Services is providing both training and the actual MST licenses for both the courts team as well as DCFS's MST team. This is part of the court's reclaim grant for our portion, and for DCFS, they're utilizing their HHS funding.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilwoman Baker?
If you're talking about HHS funding, is that the HHS levy funding?
Yes, for DCFS only.
And again, this is another where you could not have known
Yes, this is part of the same grant as the first item.
any of the services been provided.
No.
Again, you're narrowed then down to about 8 months.
And this is another kind of a quarterly payment, so we'll have plenty of time to spend it.
Okay, any other questions related to this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved. Thank you.
The next item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2019-729, Sheriff's Department. A, submitting an RFP exemption on various requisitions, which will result in awards to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $198,893.50 for various open market purchases. And B, recommending the awards in connection with said RFP exemption.
Stephen Witt with the Sheriff's Department. If you remember from last week, the last meeting, we rescinded the awards to Benjamin Foods as they're going through some financial troubles. These are the award recommendations to replace those rescinded awards. For all but one of these, we went with the next lowest bidder who was able to provide the items. For one of the items, spices, we went back to one of our vendors that we have previously done business with, Majestic Spice, because that getting a quote from them results in a savings of $14,000 over the quarter. So the total additional cost due to Benjamin Foods, the rescinding of Benjamin Foods awards, is an additional $14,000.
Okay, are there any questions related to this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Is there any other scheduled items?
No, we're moving on to consent agenda, item numbers BC 2019-730 through 737.
Okay, if everybody will take a moment or two to refresh your understanding of the consent agenda.
One correction on item number, the Sheriff's Department, item number 46380. It's for the replacement of emergency restraint chairs for the jail. Originally, it was going to be 4. It is 6 replacement chairs now. And then right underneath for requisition number 46603, 35 replacement SIG P320 carry pistols and 70 magazines for the Sheriff's Department. The department has requested that item be held. And that's all listed on page 8 for you.
Okay. Okay, does anyone, thank you, Andrea. Does anybody have any comments, questions, changes relative to the consent agenda?
There were a couple of questions that the council members had. Item number BC 2019-737, it was a direct open market purchase for the Department of Public Safety and Justice Services. I want to make sure that their questions were adequately answered.
Follow up on that item, 737?
Audrey, not on that one, but there were some questions that were going to be answered at today's meeting regarding the board and care of prisoners for Geauga, Wood, and Seneca counties.
Good morning, Donna Khalil, Sheriff's Fiscal Manager. In terms of the Geauga and Wood, Seneca we're just starting on now. I did not know we had people out at Seneca until usually the jail administrator, they'll send them out to different counties, and then I usually find out that we're using that particular county jail. But in terms of Geauga and Wood, we're doing DOs because per the law department, and maybe even Jared can jump in because he's the one who worked with us on this, we cannot have a contract with another county. We can only have a contract with a municipality, and that's per AG opinion 81-042. So because of that, we don't have a contract with these counties. Instead, we're just doing a DO because we are told by the fiscal office we have to encumber the funds. So we are going to encumber right now, we're starting with $45,000 for each one. To see how far that'll get us, because to be honest with you, we're not sure how far that'll go. Again, I usually find out after the fact, when I get the invoice, how much we're using these other county jails.
How much we've spent so far in each of the 3 counties?
Well, in Wood so far, I mean, there's some out there right now, but I have not gotten the first invoice. Geauga, we've spent about $15,000, but not under this DO. We did have some funds encumbered for Geauga, and that was from 2018 through current, about $15,000 and another $5,000 with Solon. And again, we did encumber some funds, but that was we encumbered it under a CE number, but then again, working with the law department, they said no contracts. We have to just encumber the funds in a different manner. So again, through Geauga, and that was from 18 to current, it's been $15,000, and then at Solon, $5,000. However, my understanding is that number is going to increase substantially, and I'm sure I'll find that out when I get the next invoice.
In Seneca yet?
We haven't, well, I shouldn't say we haven't. There are some out at Seneca yet, and I did talk to Diane Nutter, who's one of the jail administrators out there, and she told me that the bill we're going to get is going to be around $10,000, but I haven't gotten it yet. And again, the Seneca one, Tanisha, my fiscal officer, is just started working on that DO, so you'll probably see that on the next agenda, or coming very quickly.
And are we tracking transportation costs to the facilities as well? Do you know if we are?
Are we tracking our transportation? Not that I'm aware of in terms of tracking it. However, if I am told, I'm tracking like transportation costs to hospitals, ERs and all that. Now, if I'm told we've made 5 trips or 10 trips, I can get that number easily because I know what it costs for 2 deputies to transport inmates. So if I find out, how many we made and how many hours roughly it took, I can get you that number very quickly. So if that's something you want, I can get it.
Councilman Gallagher did ask for that, and so I don't think it got relayed to you, but if you could get
Absolutely, that's easy to get.
Thank you.
Then there was a question on the item of note number 2 for the Metro Health termination contract.
That's the old Metro Health contract. That one, the wording in the new contract basically says that contract supersedes any previous contracts. So we're just, because that contract wasn't supposed to end until December, and we needed the funds. It was an additional 1.8 that was still sitting in that old contract. And with all these new purchases we're doing and suicide blankets and scanners and everything, we needed those funds. So we're just going to, instead of just letting it expire, we're just going to discontinue it since we have the new contract, and then we can desert the funds.
And you said there was 1.8 left?
There was 1.8, correct. And we already, we've needed that for these nursing contracts, the agency nursing contracts. Now, again, Metro took over the one agency nursing contract, but we still have the Alliance one.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Councilwoman Baker?
Yes, not on this one, but just for the record, given we're asked to support these proposals, 733, 734, and 735 are all Ohio grants, just making sure that that is in fact the same reason as we had before, that there was no possibility to get these requests in on time. That was by the Court of Common Pleas,
Oh, okay,
not for you.
okay. You done with me?
Explanation the same?
Different State Department, but same explanation.
Okay, so in the future, same, never? Okay, and then even with the youth services, same?
That one I can't speak on.
Okay. It's for the Court of Common Pleas Youth Services. Okay. Yeah, juvenile court. Just for the record, so we are not,
This is a similar situation, yet a little bit different.
okay,
The item that's on for today is what the state is calling a revision to our original plan. After we were awarded our original one, we then, after the fact, got additional funding, and then we put in some additional purchases to help bring down our carryover amount. So when we spoke with the state on how to get this through and how to get it processed, they indicated to us that it would be considered a grant revision versus putting it through as an amendment, which we thought it would have been an amendment. So it's really, even though the original plan was approved in July, this is really a revision to that plan.
we've had this before, but this can be a revision to a contract that has ended, or, let me see here. This is the 7/1/19 to 6/31/21. Okay. So we're just late. All right,
Yes.
yeah, another, all right, I appreciate it.
Any other,
No, we just need to take a vote.
you have any other questions, comments about any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor of approval indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved
As amended.
as amended. Okay, is there any other business?
No other business at this time. I just wanted to make one public comment. The county offices will be closed on Monday, October 14th, the next, in observance of Columbus Day. The next meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, October 15th.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No public comment at this time.
So I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor of adjournment indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.